everyone. How you guys doing today? I am going to give it a couple of seconds before yeah. I hope you all are having a good September so far. I know things have been a bit weird lately, energetically, with Mercury retrograde, especially. Would have noticed delays, miscommunications, misunderstandings. All of this would be very uh, obvious. Also, some of you flames may feel a bit lethargic and tired as well. That is because there are a lot of downloads taking place. Hey, Moni. Hello. Hey, Bardi. You're most welcome for yesterday. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. See, you guys are amazing. And Melanie, hi, boo. So happy to see my usual. You guys are amazing and love you all so much. So let me know how have you all been and how has the energies of September been so far for you? Hi, Linda. I hope you're well. Always lovely to see you too. And Linda says hi to everyone. Hi, Diana. I hope you're well. I see that a lot of y'all are excited for today's topic, and today's topic is fun and interesting because y'all are probably cracking your heads over what are the obstacles. And because the thing about split soul twin flames is there's more literature on it, whereas with monadic twin flames, there's not much available. So that's the reason why. Hi, Paige. Oh, thank you so much. You guys are so wonderful. You guys make me feel amazing. Melanie, I thought you would be. we have all become such workaholics, our generation, contrary to what people say about our generation, but we guys are all like such workaholics. All right, hi, Nimith. Okay, wow, we've got a good 10 people. I think I'll start today. Before we start, I wanted to share that the monadic twin flame journey is very unique. So every one of you all will have a very, very, very unique journey. So you can't really follow a guideline, or it's just it's just the way it is. And that's why even the obstacles are not very obvious. You see, with split soul twin flames, the runner chaser phase is quite obvious. And then anything that leads to it also tends to happen. But with monadic twin flames, see, the issue with monadic twin flames is the runner chaser phase does not happen due to lack of awareness or due to not understanding what is happening. It is usually the biggest obstacle is one's ego. And often the divine masculine tends to feel extremely overwhelmed by the feelings and emotions their divine feminine causes. That's the reason why they think they are taking the bigger step by pushing their divine feminine away. And this tends to happen a lot with monadic twin flames. So instead of calling it the runner chaser phase, it's more of getting rid of one's ego and realizing one's potential phase. Oh, Moni, you're most welcome. I'm going to read out Moni's comment. Thank you for this. We need it. You're an angel sent to us to help us with the whole thing. Oh, you're so sweet. You guys are amazing. And hi, Melanie. Lovely to see you as always. All right, I'll go straight back into topic. And that's why you would have noticed with your monadic divine masculine that they tend to be bizarre and quite hard to interpret and decipher. Usually, with the monadic divine masculine, the rejection is quite on the face. And it always happens. They would tend to tell you off on your face that they're not interested. But even that I'm not interested would come along in. You see, you spend a lot of time with someone and you tell them you're not interested. It just doesn't make sense. You usually would tell someone you're not interested, someone, you meet in a bar or you just meet for the first time. When they're trying to make friends with you, you say, I'm not interested. But the divine masculine, monadic divine masculines, they would come up with all kinds of reasons and excuses just not to be with you. And often, the divine feminine is just a big part goes to the divine feminine blaming herself for doing something wrong, and that's why the divine masculine is running away. And often, it could be something that you guys may have done that has pushed your divine masculine away. But more than that, it is the divine masculine not being able to understand everything that's going on. So a lack of control is what causes him fear. Hi, Mindy. Just jumping on real quick to say I've seen Joe, and Joe is oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, all right. You can watch it later. Hi, Maggie. So going back to where I was. So often when they realized that this connection is different to all other connections, they tend to go into the panic mode. And that's why they push their divine feminines away. And the divine feminine, on the other hand, goes into a state of shock. And often it's called the soul shock. The soul shock phase happens after there is that rejection kind of phase. And the rejection would sound like, that's it, you would never see your DM again. But that's where you're wrong. That never happens. Somehow your divine masculine will keep coming back into your life. And if there is nothing that can get you to meet, you guys would meet by random chance. That's how powerful the connection between both of you is. And that's why it's so important to trust God and trust divine and trust the universe in this journey. And as Monadic Flames, often you guys would be, Monadic Flames are very, very intelligent because of the vast amount of experiences they have accumulated across time, space, dimensions. And often they feel like, why am I even becoming like this? So as I talked about last week, a lot of release tends to take place. So the moment there is a separation between monadic flames, it is in that period that the divine feminine and divine masculine start living the best version of themselves. Not immediately, but it takes a while. So instead of like crying and pining and dwelling over the nature of not being able to be together, the divine feminine goes through this phase of, you know what, I just want to live my best life. And that's when she starts finding her passion. She starts getting involved with charity. She starts getting involved with community. She starts building her own business. She starts planning on what she wants to do instead of dwelling on the pain, which is the most painful thing ever. Like monadic twin flame rejection separation phase is indescribable. It's like, it's so painful that you want to do something with the pain just so that you have a reminder of a pain, or you just want to be an alchemist and convert the pain into something more meaningful. And another thing is, another major obstacle would be fear. So we have got ego, which is both ends. Like the ego tends to affect monadic twin flames, like both sides. So in the initial stages, but you see, that's the thing. Divine feminines are quite subtle, it's not like they go crazy or anything and they start scolding their divine masculine or anything like that. It's often quite gracious. The acceptance, it's quite gracious, and you quite wonder, like, if it was any other guy, I would have actually asked him out on this. But with your divine masculine, you just tend to be yourself, and even your parting conversation would tend to be rather affectionate, because you know deep within that this is not the end, and there is more to this. And a lot of monadic twin flames I've worked with have always told me that during the separation phase, which is not even separation, they always knew that they were going to be with their divine masculine. And because there are no clear-cut rules or formula with the monadic twin flames, it is overcoming one's ego and overcoming one's fear. These are the two major obstacles in the journey. I know I make it sound so simple, but it's beyond that. Ego in itself is often misunderstood. Ego is inherently there to protect you so that you don't crumble and make poor choices. So the ego kind of protects your identity. But when it reaches the fine line between arrogance, that's when the ego tends to go into a state whereby the ego thinks that it's only me who exists. And the ego starts disconnecting from the entire spectrum of oneness. Once you start operating from the heart, you would start understanding why your divine masculine is doing what he's doing. And often, this is the time you start to wonder, okay, this is the time that I should do something meaningful for myself. And that's when you start paying attention to what your divine masculine does. And you realize that very healthily, you part away from stalking his social media, or thinking about what he's doing constantly, or questioning his life choices. Or example, if your DM is all about partying, you are not judging him anymore. Or if you think that he's with someone, it doesn't affect you. So that's when you know. So another obstacle is jealousy. And a lot of divine feminines have remarked that they never even knew that they were capable of jealousy until they imagined or thought that their divine masculine could be with someone else. And with any other guy, that would have never been an issue, because they would have just moved on. But the thought of their divine masculine being with someone else, or even nearly being with someone else, like, example, like your divine masculine might have gone to a club and he might be dancing with a random woman. Even that can be a major trigger to the divine feminine. Something that she would not have thought that she ever had. So that's another major obstacle. Ego, jealousy, fear, lack of self-worth. The divine feminine starts thinking that she's ugly, she's not good enough, she's fat, she's thin, she's not attractive, she's not talented. She goes into this fear zone of not believing in herself anymore. And whatever that happened with her divine masculine last is what determines the next couple of weeks. And if you realize, all of these issues would have never been looked at or focused if not for your meeting with your divine masculine. Guys, show me you guys are here. Show me some reactions, and tell me if you guys are enjoying what I've been saying so far. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Amber, I'm good. Good to see you too. Hello, Belinda. Great to see you. Hi, Lizzie. Great to see you. Hi, Shell. Great to see you too. Show me some love and show me some reactions, and so that I know. Moni, yeah, I had a jealousy trigger Friday that I've never thought would be a problem with me and him. I hated knowing that came out of me. My DM went to a concert with a woman unknown. Instead of being bitchy and jealous, I wasn't. You see, I love how both of you gave examples. And and thanks, Moni, for sharing. And probably you would have noticed that you were never really a jealous kind of person until your divine masculine actually did what he did. And Lizzie, you have overcome the jealousy. See, so this is where the transformation is. Once you overcome it, you realize that it has no power over you. So I want you guys to see it this way: jealousy, fear, ego, these are all obstacles in realizing who you are. That's one thing. Oh, I'm just really listening and soaking in. Can't do anything about it. My DMs isn't on the planet right now, though. Nah, Julia, don't say it that way. You can always communicate with your DM in 5D. In fact, you can listen to some of my older. I've done some videos on 5D communication with your twin flame. We have all these obstacles. Exactly. All of you have that. And it's okay. I'm just trying to simplify it so that once you overcome it, you would realize that it's so much easier to navigate through the journey. Sometimes it is so common that you don't even realize that these are the biggest obstacles that is causing you to be with your divine masculine. Maggie, I was so jealous, especially when I found out on his karmic that I changed my number. Oh boy. This relates so much. I never thought I had jealousy either until it came to my DM being with someone else. It didn't matter with anyone else. No, me and exactly. My DM got, oh, I'm so sorry, Diana. Amber, what do you see DMs currently going through? I'll keep those questions to the last. Melanie, I don't have any jealousy, but I do have some fears. The journey is so hard and heartbreaking, and I think his ego. Yes, often it's the. That's why I was talking about how the divine masculine ego tends to. You see, you have to see that his ego operates from vulnerability and a lot of regret and a lot of pain from the past, and that's why the DM tends to make decisions that are not in alignment with the DF. And often, when you hear yourself saying that, you realize that DFs can be quite selfish too. Because ultimately, what do you want? You want to be with your DM. And you so want to be with your DM that you don't even care about what he feels or thinks. You just want to be with him. So that's another major obstacle. You wanting, see, there are a few ways to look at it. You wanting him to be with you, and if it comes from a pure place of yearning, that's one thing. But if you wanting him to be with you, regardless of what is happening, that comes from more of a neutral state. But if you are like, I just want him to be with me and I just don't want to go through this journey, nothing, I just want to be, that comes from a place of selfishness, which is something that is quite hard for some divine feminines to face, because they are like, I am entitled. So another obstacle is entitlement. It's something that inherently what it does is it reflects the dark side of the divine feminine. And that in itself is a major obstacle. And when you work on all these that I've just mentioned and focus on coming in terms with this, you will notice that things around you will change. When you operate from a mode of complete surrender and complete unconditional love and complete acceptance of where you are in the journey, that's when the stagnancy will move away. So if and it's okay to feel all of those things. If you don't feel all of those things, that's when you realize that you're not even human at all. And as long as you're on earth, you are going to feel these things. And it's good that your divine masculine is a trigger and a reflection to actually show you that. No worries, Samantha. But hi, she says hi to everyone. So we are just talking about the major obstacles in the monadic twin flame journey. And these obstacles may look like they are not a big issue, and they may look like they are so normal, but this is what affects you guys from uniting actually. And just not you divine feminines, it's the divine masculines too. And when you give them the chance and the time and the patience to actually overcome these things, you will realize that when your DM returns, he's a completely changed person. But then another obstacle is you reacting to him based on his past behavior. So you don't respond to his present behavior. Instead, you react. Instead, you start making very snide comments like, oh, this is what you do. Oh, this is what you tend to do, like pulling things from the past and embarrassing him. But again, the divine feminine does that from a place of hurt. She's so hurt by the separation of like probably a year or more, she tends to make those tight remarks, which again pushes the DM away. So that's another big part of it. The whole reacting and responding thing. So that's why it's very essential to treat the moment you have with your DM like no other. Treat it as something unique and just respond to him like how you would respond to someone you have just met. You would want to change your attitude towards living in the moment and being in the moment. And it's so easy to go pull the past behind and react based on that. So, for example, one example is like, um, okay, so another thing that I wanted to speak about is another obstacle is love bombing. You overly give your love to your DM because when you see your divine masculine, you know he's the one and you want to do everything to make him happy. So you start showering him with gifts. Usually, this happens in 3D connections with the male showering gifts on the female. But with twin flames, monadic twin flames, the opposite happens. It's the female who tends to like cook for him, care for him, and that is actually love bombing and it's not very healthy. And that is a big push off. And that relates to that point about reacting and responding. Sometimes you may be like, oh, I've done so much for you in the past, and now you just turn up. When you say those things, this would trigger your DM because your DM is probably like, oh, she's still stuck in the past. She is not progressing. She's not she's still the same. She's not evolving at all. Like we want to come back and hope things are different, but she's still operating from that place. Okay, I'm going to read out Linda's comment. When I met my DM and he told me he was married, it was hard for me. I never thought I would ever be involved with a married man. I had to learn to accept that and love him unconditionally in spite of that. Exactly. It's hard, but there are some things that you got to do. Okay, Amber, actually, I would answer your question quite generally so that it will help everyone. So, with the Mercury retrograde, it will be good with the Mercury retrograde. Like, you have to be really careful with your communication with your DM for those of you are in communication or those of you all are reconnecting again, because it's so easy to say things that you do not want to say and push your DM away. So then going back to the next obstacle is that the fear that you're never going to be with your DM. This tends to take over a lot of divine feminines. They have this fear that you will never be with your monadic twin flame. But the thing is, there are higher chances of monadic twin flames uniting over split soul twin flames. And I'll probably explain why in another video. Because you see, monadic twin flames come to Earth due to mission, purposes, uh, mostly mission purposes. So they have it in their soul plan to come in union. But often, after completion of mission, often um, after going through a certain amount of mission completion, there is union. So sometimes what happens is, even though they are meant to unite, it's their own fear, ego, and all of the traits that I described tends to be another major obstacle. So it's like you're falling 20 steps behind when you could have been in union already. And you see, everything with your divine masculine can be seen. So you're basically extremely transparent. It's not like other connections where you can play games and you can hook your person. So if you're going to apply formulas of past relationships, they're not going to work. Nothing of that sort is going to work. And that's why your friend's advice is never going to work with your twin flame reunion. They would ask you to do that. Don't text him. Don't do this. Don't do that. Play hard to get. None of this is ever going to work. You know, I've worked with so many divine feminines. I can say that all of those 3D techniques are not going to work at all. So, excuse me for a moment, what is going to work is you healing a lot of your issues that you knew that that did not even exist, and they start coming up after you make initial contact with your twin flame. Some stories are really sad because twin flames meet in their early 20s or late teens, and then after that they marry someone else. Often it's a karmic, or very rare cases soulmate, and then after many years they realize that what they had between them is a twin flame connection. And for some, especially with the new current generation, starseed monadic twin flames who are like meeting their twin flames in their late 20s, early 30s, you have a chance to not repeat what the previous generation did. Instead of just marrying and settling down with someone else, you can actually take a leap of faith and focus on getting together with your DM. I know it's a lot of chance and a lot of years at stake, and it's a big gamble, especially when you are in your late 20s and early 30s, because that's the childbearing years. But the thing is, the childbearing years have expanded. It's no longer just limited to 20s and 30s. People are having kids in their 40s, even 50s, and there is no difference. It is about when you are ready to have kids. So those things should never be an obstacle. And also, getting married just to, um, you know, getting married to just push your DM away, or thinking that that's going to cause a reaction, is not going to work either. You are involving another person into your life, and not being able to give your love completely is the worst thing you can do to someone else. Imagine this person who's marrying you, who's not your twin flame, and wants to be with you and wants to completely love you, but you can never. Once you meet your twin flame, you will never be able to love anyone else. And that's why. And you know what? At this time, there is so much, like, pressure is so much lower. Whereas 20 years ago, it was different, Like, if you didn't settle down with a partner, if you didn't get married, then you were just shunned away by society. But now, individuality is separated. And if you just give yourself some time and really focus on you and expand yourself, grow as a person, your DM would come back to you. And energetically, it is possible because it's all in the energies. When you are vibrating at a certain vibe and energy, your divine masculine is going to be attracted to the energy, and they're going to come back to you. But often, if you're married to someone else, then it will be impossible, because in 3D, you are with someone else. So, twin flames would never come and interrupt anyone's journey. in that way. And that's why married twin flames have a hard time trying to be with one another, because inherently they don't want to interrupt anything that's happening. But of course, another group of twin flames meet when both their marriages are collapsing. So that's another like perfect timing. And some of you guys may have met your twin flame while they are married to their spouse, but again, you know that you will find a way to still maintain a connection as well. See, that's why there is no rule book, or there is no way to, like, everyone's journey is extremely unique. But the most important thing is that never ever feel pressured to do something that you don't want to do, especially because you want to impress society. And Amy, thanks for that. Yes, I always thought I had to check off my boxes. I pushed pressure and my ex put pressure on me to marry. I know now it wasn't love. You see, usually that's what happens as well. Like, if you look at a lot of new age marriages, it's often one partner is pressuring the other partner to get married, and then the other partner just readily agrees because they have no choice. They think this is it, this is life. It's very important to be very conscious when you want to get married, because once you get married, there is a legal ramification towards it, and coming out of it takes a process compared to you just dating someone or courting someone. Even then, it might not be easy to come out of the connection. That's why after you have met your twin flame, even if you're in separation phase, don't feel the need to be pressured to date. And of course, your friends and family, they mean well and they want you to be happy. And of course, they will think you're crazy thinking about this DM who's almost non-existence due to him not being present at all. But ultimately, this is your life, not theirs. And this is another obstacle as well, because you're constantly thinking, okay, maybe I should move on, maybe. But in some cases, if your DM is not available at all, maybe that might be the best choice as well. So don't put a certain standard or place a certain notion towards what you want to do as well. Megan, I was the one who was married, but I didn't meet Animal until long after I was divorced, and he was never married, nor has he ever had really. You see, often that with Monadic Flames, one partner would have, okay, in very rare circumstances, both of them would have never had a relationship, or they may have very limited relationships. So there is one category of twin flames who have basically been like virgins, and they meet their twin flame for the first time, and even they face obstacles. And I've spoken about it. It doesn't matter whether you have experience or no experience, it's all the same in the twin flame journey. You still go through that separation, you still go through that issues. So like I mentioned, like how people who have had experience would have issues like sexual trauma, this trauma of being forced, trauma of being controlled, trauma of being dominated, all kinds of trauma. And for people who have no experience, the trauma of not having any experience, feeling like they are not likable, feeling that, hey, no one was there, like no one was in a relationship, that is a different kind of obstacle. So that's why for someone who has no experience, and when they meet their twin flame, again, there is a major separation phase, because they don't know how to navigate through a connection at all, because they have no experience. They don't even know what is the right way, because all of their relationships in the past has failed. So it does not get better for someone who had experience or no experience. It's the same. So that is also another major obstacle: experience or no experience. Because whatever it is, there is some kind of experience that's going on there, and then that tends to affect your choices with your twin flame. Samantha, I've always kept myself closed off to love. Then I met B and understood why. You see? So, yeah, for some twin flames, it's like your twin flame will be like the first love you fall in love with. Like prior to that, none of the guys would have not really worked. And somehow you may have been thinking, oh, I'm just unlucky in love, but it's because you were preparing to meet your twin flame. Amy, I've only had my one other relationship. My ex was sexually abusive, and I think part of me felt like I had to marry him because I felt God was angry or disappointed. I'm my DM's longest serious relationship. Oh, you see, Amy, thanks for sharing that. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. A lot of divine feminines tend to go through that kind of abuse, and that really affects them a lot. And that's why, you know, there is this big healing process that comes after meeting your DM. There's so much pain, and sometimes you're not even releasing pain and trauma from this lifetime, you're releasing pain and trauma from previous lifetimes as well. And so, back to what we are talking about, the obstacles. So, there's so many obstacles, but at the same time, you being obsessed over the obstacle is an obstacle itself. Obsessiveness is another obstacle. It's very natural for twin flames, especially divine feminines, to be obsessed with their DFs, or vice versa in some cases. And the obsession, you see, it's all energetic. So all of these traits tend to push you away from your divine masculine because it's all energetic. You think that your DM doesn't feel it, but they feel every single thing you're going through, even while you guys are in separation. And during the separation phase, you think like, oh, he doesn't know if I'm looking at his Facebook stories, or he doesn't know, but he knows everything that you're doing. And he's watching you from afar too. You may think that, oh, he's not bothered about what I'm doing, but he wonders a lot. And most divine masculines wish the best for their divine feminines. They want their divine feminines to go live their best life, to be happy, to some DMs even wish that their DFs will be better off with someone else, which comes from a very insecure place. It's like pushing away the greatest love of your life to someone else. But the truth is, your divine feminine is not going to be with someone else. She will take all the time and wait for you to come back. And there's nothing wrong with waiting either. There is this crazy need to be in some kind of a contract or commitment, and that is Earth's energies. And you guys don't have to be affected by Earth's energies, which is constantly trying to put pressure on you from the day you're born, from attending kindergarten school to attending primary school to getting to college, getting a degree to getting a job. It's all about pressure, and it's all about time pressure. Oh, by this age you should be married, by this age you should have kids, by this age you should have a house, by this age. And then you take a moment and pause, and you're thinking, why am I even rushing this entire process? It's okay to have your first home when you're in your 40s or 50s. It's okay to get married in your 60s. There is no rule for anything. And now with technology, anything is possible. And there is no right or wrong. Another major obstacle is judging yourself. When you judge yourself a lot, you are lowering your energies. My nose itches. Every time I realize when I'm talking about energy stuff, sometimes my nose itches. Another obstacle would be operating from the place of doubt. You're always doubting this journey. You're always wondering, is this my DM? Is this even possible? Probably it has changed. This person can't be my DM. Or permanently, you have this feeling. Even though you know he is your DM, you think that he's not. Or Belinda, I will definitely do a split soul. Yeah, it's very similar. With split soul twin flames, what I've shared is also quite similar to. There's no major difference per se, but these factors do impact split soul twin flames. Moni. Oh, thanks, Moni. Thank you so much. You're speaking facts. Oh, I want to be as real as possible because I don't want to paint a very beautiful picture and not talk about the reality. Then how are you all going to be in union with your DMs? I want you all to be happy and be in union with your divine masculine. And the only way is to talk about what is going on for real. And that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes it might be even hard to hear all of those things because you are like, no, I don't have ego. No, I don't have jealousy. No, but it's okay to have all these things. There is nothing wrong with feeling these emotions. There is nothing wrong at all. It is more about owning it and changing yourself for the better. And if you notice, if you always look closer, for instance, fear, when you look closer at fear, you will realize that fear comes from a lack of not getting something you're going to get. Jealousy comes from why is it that the other person gets it and I don't? Even when you feel like your DM is dancing with someone else, it comes from the opposite emotion of jealousy is actually yearning. You're actually yearning to be in the arms of your DM, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's why acknowledgement of these traits are a major removal of the obstacles that is keeping you and your DM apart. And it's all part of the journey as well. Overcoming these issues is going to help you to transform not only in your twin flame journey but in life in general. Oh, that's a good question. And probably, Linda, I will do it as like a standalone topic itself, but I will touch a bit on it today. When you have overcome all of these things and when you're living in complete zen and you are not affected by anything your DM does, union is near. And you know it because you know when you feel like when union doesn't matter itself, union is near, which means you're in that complete surrender state. And I will definitely talk more about that. Hi, Lorinda. Good to see you. It's been a day. I hope it's been an exciting day. Amy, it has helped me balance so much in the past. Oh, thank you so much, Amy. You guys are amazing. Yeah, doubt is a big thing. Maybe I'll do another topic about doubt itself for all twin flames. All right, I'm just going to go through some of the comments. Okay. So once you recognize what is it that is causing you, in fact, a lot of divine feminines recall like how they never get to be triggered or get affected by. For example, for divine feminines, if it was any other guy who had rejected them, they would just move on or find someone else. But when your DM rejects you, you just don't give up, you know? And you realize that, hey, I didn't know I had such a trait in me. But it's all about converting your pain into something more beautiful, you know. That is alchemy, that is transformation, and that's what you're going to do in your journey. You're going to transform all that you think that is not serving you into something more beautiful. See, Lizzie, it doesn't matter if he's there too. What matters that you work on yourself and bring yourself to a place of Zen. And automatically your energies will inspire him to come to that place as well. That's what happens with Monadic Flames. Everything happens on hand. Sometimes the divine masculine is more advanced, so he's probably waiting for you to get there. Samantha, I don't know if it's just Mercury retrograde, but randomly some of the negative memories with B pop up and I try my best to release them, but it seems different recently. It is the Mercury retrograde. It tends to have an effect, and that's why, guys, you have to hang in there and hold tight because you will start having like memories, you would start having triggers. It could just be a picture of your DM standing by a lake and you're going to be triggered. Or he might just be going for a jog and you might be triggered. And you're like wondering, why am I even being triggered? Because you're triggered by his absence. That's what's happening. So every time you feel triggered, look at what is it that's causing you to feel that trigger. All right, guys, I'm now going to take questions before we wrap up. So please send me your questions, and I'm trying to look at some of the previous comments as well because I can't find it in. Yes. All right. I'm just going to go quickly. Oops. All right, guys. If you have any questions, I think Amber had a question earlier on. From memory, what I remember is that she was asking about how a DM is during the Mercury retrograde. Amber, don't worry, everything is getting better. Your DM is just going through his usual release, and a lot of release is taking place between you both. I hope I have answered your questions. Amy, it really is amazing the energy shift when you start focusing on you and instead of them. Initial stages, it won't make sense at all. You'll be like, if I'm focusing on myself, what has that got to do with the journey? And often you'll all be questioning, like, why? It doesn't even make sense. But that is the key, guys. When you focus on yourself, you realize that every aspect of your life changes. You start being a different person. You start being in Zen. You start enjoying every single thing. You wake up feeling really excited to start the day, no matter what the challenges and obstacles are. And you becoming the best version of yourself is the best thing you can do to yourself because you attract opportunities, you attract so many things, you attract amazing, amazing circumstances in your life. Sometimes you may be like, I want to take this trip with my DM. Go take the trip yourself. Solo travel is as amazing as if you travel with your DM because your DM is always going to be there with you. Megan, edible as usual. He has so much love for you and so much excitement for you, and he has no words to even describe how amazing you are. Maggie, how come I don't think about him or bothering things like before? Because you have transformed energetically. Usually, when you're not bothered, you realize that energetically you have shifted and you're no longer, you know, dwelling about certain things. Linda, that's a very good question. Vaish, you've seen the markings on my ankle. I have a question. Why do the hearts and his name get darker from time to time? It just means that union is really closer in your circumstance, Linda. That's why it's getting darker and darker as a sign from the universe that you guys are so close to union. So it's good. Okay. Amber, thanks, thanks. I was trying to look at your comment and I lost it. I was wondering about the collective DMs and what they're all feeling and experience during this time. Because with Mercury retrograde, what they are feeling is they have probably given up on the journey. They are probably thinking that my DF is not thinking about me at all, and I have lost it. So they are more in that kind of a phase right now, like what is going on with my DF. Probably she's moved on. Probably she's much happier with someone else because I'm not feeling her anymore, or she's not there anymore. So that's what's happening collectively with the DMs. So they are just in their lack of, or they are in that feelings of like, oh, my DF has just moved on. But that will change after the energies pass. I think Mercury retrograde is going on till the 3rd of October, so that's only 2 more weeks. But again, guys, it doesn't really affect you unless you allow it to affect you. So if you just keep focusing on things, focusing on you, keep doing things and not getting so agitated by the effects of the retrograde, you will realize that everything goes pretty smoothly. Melanie, I think my energy was very high today. The dogs loved it and I felt it. Oh, Melanie, I can feel it too. Your energy is superb. Like, it's so beautiful and it will continue getting higher and higher. Lorinda, yes, it's so nice to not be triggered anymore. I know what he does or says is coming from unhealed trauma and wounding. He stopped projecting onto me. Oh, that's great, Lorinda. I'm so glad. The transformation is amazing and that's truly, truly wonderful. Amber, this is my real question. What are James' feelings and intentions towards me? Current energy or any messages? Please and thank you. So James has kind of given up on this journey from his end because he feels like there is nothing left he could do to repair things. But that again is a very temporary feeling because right now it's the Mercury retrograde and he's just being strung in the opposite direction. So that's what James is exactly feeling. He feels like you're not there anymore. But, probably a message from you or some kind of a communication from your end might cheer him up. So that is my advice to you, Amber. Amy, it always works out how it is meant to. Sometimes we just have to go with the flow and find our way back. Exactly. Maggie, that's a wonderful question. What happens after transformation is a state of a blissful experience. You're no longer bound by anything or you're not wondering anything anymore. You're just in tune with the existence of the universe and the planet. That's what transformation is. You're no longer bothered by the 3D energies, or you have done a lot of work and fear doesn't affect you anymore, nor none of the lower 3D emotions have an effect on you after transformation. All right, I'm going to take some questions now. Yes, that's absolutely true, Samantha. There is union in 5D and in 3D. Brian is working. It's my juice. Brian is working, working through ways of being together with you in 3D. So that's what his higher self wants you to know, that he's making a lot of effort to be with you, and things will get better. And Amber, I don't want you to be so worried about what he's feeling because I was channeling exactly what was he was feeling. So that will change after the retrograde. So don't worry, things will get better. And deep down he knows that you guys are going to be together. So don't overthink what I just said. Okay, anyway, back to Samantha. So with Brian, there's a lot of potential and he feels a lot despite the retrograde, that is not really having much of an effect on him. He's feeling extremely excited about the things to come. So it is the energies of Brian, probably you're feeling it more, that he's actually really excited and he wants to be much closer in 3D as well. So good things are coming ahead. WF. WF and you are entering a beautiful phase as well. Things will get better. His higher self wants you to know that he loves you immensely and he will do everything he can to be together with you. Oh, Lorinda, he told me the other night that he's got low self esteem and he's self conscious. It almost made me cry. Oh, I'm so glad he's very vulnerable with you. That shows that he feels so safe and he's truly trying to be 100% with you. DA is feeling all good about you, and DA wants you to know that he is suffering a lot. A lot of his day-to-day issues are bothering him, and you give him hope. When he thinks of you, he feels very hopeful. You're welcome, Maggie. Amber, thank you. I feel like things will get better again soon. I haven't heard from him in a week or so. I think I was feeling overwhelmed by other things in his life, but I'm sure I will hear from him and see him soon. You see, yeah, you will definitely hear from him. I feel like you may want to communicate as well. But ultimately, what he's going through, it's very unique, Amber. Like, he's going through this phase of like trying to question what exactly that he feels with you. So, which is going to bring you towards a breakthrough, because that is going to help him realize that what he has with you is more than that, more than just a relationship. So I feel like in time to come he will realize that he is on a twin flame journey. So that's good in a way. MR is in his man cave, he's just dwelling in his sorrows and dwelling, especially after recently seeing you, he just feels like hell that is not able to be with you. Frank is still going through the same. He's just stuck in his own day to day challenges and battles. He does think of you from time to time, and he wants you to know that he will always love you and there is no separation. Separation is only on 3D. So that's what Frank's higher self wants you to know. JS is doing really well. Energetically, he's in a good place. And it's interesting how you're both mirroring one another. But in time to come, you guys will touch base again. Diana, AJ and you. There's a lot of misery that's coming out of AJ. I feel like he's working through a lot of issues from his past. So his higher self wants you to know that he's taking some time to work on himself before he gets back. Maggie, it happens with the retrograde. You get to be triggered by little things. So once you're aware it's the effect of the Mercury retrograde, it wouldn't affect you so much. Samantha, thank you. It's hard feeling what I do in 5D. Yeah, but it will get better. Oh, that is wonderful. Yeah, Eric wants you to know that he's really invested in this journey and he wants to be with you, and that's why he's showing you that he's making an effort, and it's headed towards a more positive future. In fact, all of you guys are entering a more positive period in the coming months, and there's definitely going to be glimpses of union, getting together, more moments to be spent together. It's going to get wonderful. I love to ask a question, but I don't have one. Oh, that's wonderful, Lorinda. Good night, Rachel. How is KK higher self feeling towards me? KK's higher self is feeling extremely proud of you for the person you have become and wants you to know that he loves you unconditionally forever and ever. So Darin is trying to do everything he can, Linda, to make it possible for you guys to be together. So that's what's going on with him. So it's all good, Linda. Like things are transforming, things are headed in the right direction, and he's just finding ways and means to be together with you more. Yes, Megan, the retrograde has been in. Yes, it has been. It has been. And that's why it's so important to maintain that. It's so important to like maintain that place of zen and calm, because you're going to experience a lot of you know mild delays, technological difficulties, miscommunication, even with your twin flame. That's why you may want to just play it cool and be very careful about what you communicate as well, because you don't want misunderstanding, especially when you guys are working on this so much. Oh, Amy, I thought I gave you. Oh, you want a message from WF's higher self. WF's higher self wants you to know that you have to continue working on yourself, and he's always there watching over you, and you can always communicate with him, and you can build your connection with WF's higher self, because he's literally there to talk to you anytime. So that's the message. Communicate more with his 5D self. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up for today. Thank you all for joining in. I will see you all next week with a much more interesting topic. I hope I've answered all of your questions. Oh, Becca, LW wants you to know that things will get better, and he is emotionally in a dark place right now, like LW's 3D self, but he's working on himself, and he will put his act together. He will come back to you. Lorinda, haha, yeah, low tires, flat fires, traffic detours, exhaustion. It's been a day, retrograde. Oh, thanks, Linda. Beautiful messages, Vaish. Thank you. Moni, thank you for this. You're most welcome, Moni. Thank you all for being here. You guys are such a joy, and I love you all so much. And it's always great to do this live with you all every week. I'll read Megan's comment before we wrap up. I actually found out from the women, I got jealous of I know Animal still chuckles about me being unreasonable. There's one more tournament this week, so I'll be seeing him then. All the best to you, Megan. Things will be good. Um, Majori, thank you. Amy, thank you. Oh, you're most welcome, Amy. Samantha, thank you so much, Vaish. I love these lives so much. Sometimes this journey can feel isolating because it's so different than yeah, exactly. It's very different to what your friends are going through. So it's best not to talk to them about what you're going through because they're not going to understand because they're not on this journey and their advice would be irrelevant. So yeah, it's amazing connecting with you all too. You're most welcome, Shal. You're most welcome, Bardi. You too have a lovely week. You're most welcome, Diana. You guys all have a lovely week. Things will get better with your divine masculine. You guys are all headed in the right direction. So don't worry. Everything will be all right. Just hang in there, brace yourself, and things will get better. All right? Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you all next week. Take care. Love you all, and bye bye.